both in writing and orally. His ability to conceptualize public policy and implement it. His ability to gather resources and use it ethically for public good was exceptional. I did that. I mean, I did that to Tomboy who did not even have D minus. So when we look at these things, please understand what we are saying contextually. Joho, first of all, as far as I'm concerned, is a complete failure in all spheres of life, not just academically, intellectually, ethically, strategically, policy-wise. Everything about him is a failure. And on top of it, he's a criminal because he's an organized criminal selling drugs. We cannot have a country with no values, where everything goes, and people demand of you to be able to tell them, oh, Joe has not been convicted. How do you expect a criminal to be convicted in Kenya? Nobody gets convicted. The head of public prosecutions is in conflict with EACC because he wants, or he purportedly backdated a letter saying that he terminated a case against Oparanya so that he can clear the way for Oparanya to be a cabinet secretary, when everyone, even a gardener working for the government, must have EACC clearance certificate. But Oparanya apparently is not supposed to have one. So please, we are talking of a much more serious problem than this thing about grades. And yes, Marge is right, everybody else, Kingsman, I was not talking about every Kenyan and saying they cannot get to a point where they overcome this issue about grades. I said inability, incapacity to understand and to conceptualize public policy. That's not about grades. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. for clarifying that. I'd like to say that we still have a lot of requests coming up. So those who've spoken, kindly drop the mic and leave the opportunity for others. We're going 2 minutes each. Anthony, William, and then His Excellency in that order. Anthony, can you hear me? William? His Excellency? Okay. Everyone on the panel, if you can hear me and want to speak, raise your hand. The rest who are not speaking will have to drop them.
Yes, hello. Hello.
Okie dokie. Anthony, we called you. Please open your mic, unmute your mic and speak.
His Excellency is speaking, Marge.
Okay.
Can you not hear His Excellency?
Okay, then
hello, Marge. Can you hear me? Marge, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Excellency. Then I will give other people.
Okay, I can hear him now. Let him go. No.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. And first of all, to congratulate Daktari. What he has said is very true. But my question to Daktari, as for now, he knows we don't have opposition leaders. All of them has been captured by the government. So him too, he used to be in opposition leaders, but nowadays he's not talking the way he used to talk. So how are we going to solve our issues and problems? And what are some of the issues we youth are supposed to reiterate so that the government will make sure that the government do as we wanted? Those ones were my question. Anyway, thank you so much.
Magic, go on. Is done.
Thank you, Hilary. Let me try to cue the next person. If I can still not hear them, then I will drop and come back. Anthony, can you hear me? Okay, Hilary, can you check if Anthony can hear you? Then because his hand's raised up and he's not speaking. Or Kingsman, check.
I can see Karani. Karani can go.
Oh, Kaira, Marge. Oh, Kings, can you hear me?
Yeah, Kaira, I can hear you. Yeah, go on.
Okay. Thank you so much. I just want to be grateful for this opportunity to have my submissions on this space. I just want to say that, just to be brief, I just want to say that our country is a captive of political classes, or other political class, so to speak. And I think the only way we can overcome this is by way of revolution. Because we have come to trust politicians so much, but it has come to our realization that there's no way they can be able to help us. The only thing that they can do is to enslave us. They are there not for us, but for their own interests. And I've just been seeing the interviews that has been going on by the parliament, and we cannot really say that our political institutions have failed. If somebody comes and tells us that he's worth 600 million or 2 point something billion, and they're not being asked how did they get this wealth that they have, then you can agree with me that there is a big problem. You can also see the nominees from Odium. They have been criticizing the government, but now they seems to be done.
Can you hear him, Kaira?
No, he's gone silent, Maj.
Okay, before he comes back, Anthony, kindly proceed. I think somebody called him. Okay. If Anthony is not hearing, Patrick or Jeff?
Patrick, can you hear Maj? All right. Alicia, are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You're muted again.
I'm sorry. I'd like to address the question about the opposition without without a leader. I think that is the best structure, actually, because when you decenter power or a single leader, it's very difficult for people to dismantle the movement because they can't remove a single figurehead and say that the opposition is not there. So I think, and I've heard this so many times, that why doesn't Gen Z have a leader? I think that's a very horrible question to ask, because you're not doing this for a leader. You're doing this for yourself, for your kids, for your country, if you love your country. And the other thing I would also like to address is whatever the doctor said here about the West really interfering in our leadership. I really believe that that is true. And I think that is one of the neocolonial dynamics that we're facing right now. Because as he said, if one white person was killed during these protests, they would have him removed, they would have Ruto removed from presidency immediately. So I feel like this is one of the things that is really, and maybe I can explain more. We've seen that a lot of people are being shipped outside the country to work in the West. So I'm really saying that, wow, this is part of neocolonialism, because we are shipping our own labor. This is called brain drain. Like, we are draining our own country of labor that we have created. So we can't even build our own country, because most people will want to go to a country that they're being appreciated, not in the way that their Western compadres are being appreciated, but more than they are being appreciated in Kenya. The other thing I was also saying is that the more we also say that, oh, I would really like to leave this country, we have this unsustainable economic model that, people are just depending on remittances for developing the country. And the other thing that maybe not a lot of people have seen is that as much as we're shipping people outside, you'll see a lot of new companies coming up in Kenya, and most of them are Western owned. There are very few Kenyan owned companies that are coming up in Kenya. So I think that that's a very big problem that we should also address right now during this talk. The other thing I would also like to address is
Alicia, and then you need to
I'm
land
sorry.
because we have 2 minutes each per speaker, and I think this is the second time you're speaking.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's be considerate. Back to you.
Okay. Let me just end it there and give the floor to someone else.
Thank you so much. We'll circle you back because we have less ladies speaking, and we'll circle you back again. We would like to request Gen Zs to come to the mic. I think Kara, who didn't finish speaking, has just dropped. And I would like to request that we center our discussions to the Nanenane that's upcoming. Those who have questions, please channel them to Dr. Miguna and Dr. Mkawasi. I see you on the mic, because that way we're not going to have at least a space with the Miguna before Nanenane. So let's have the topic surrounding there and really just be concrete, because for other things like the reforms that he has already also talked about and pointed out that we're talking about, that we can talk about at a different time point, but let's just try to be precise and just stay within the topic. And that having been said, Anthony, this is the last call. Let's see if you can speak. Then you go to Jeff, Wakili, Patrick, and Seven in that order, 2 minutes each. Anthony? Okie dokie. Jeff, then Wakili and Seven. Wakili, can you hear me? Or who can hear me on the mic? Others I'll drop and come back.
Yes, you're loud and clear.
I can hear you.
Okay, Patrick, take a go. If you're on the mic, you cannot hear me and you're not speaking, we will just give you a chance once, then we'll need to drop you, because that is how people end up messing with our spaces. Some of them just come and they stay on the mic and within minutes you see a lot of technical challenges. Patrick, take a go.
Yeah, mine, Marge, is thanks for host and co-host and for Daktari for saying all the things that he has said. I just wanted to encourage revolutionaries and to say that, Nane must happen and we have to keep on pushing. But I wanted to just reflect with us that if Nanenane is happening in Nairobi, I think the future we should be looking for is Nanenane happening in all the 47 counties and focusing on a Ruto in that county that needs to go. Because I think we now have one side versus the movement. And one side means what was formerly opposition is now government. And so if we're saying Ruto must go at the national level, I think we're also saying the governors who come from that opposition party that has joined government must also go, so that we devolve the movement and get the numbers and get the action happening at the outposts as it is happening in Nairobi. That's the revolutionary spirit that I would like to see. Let's mobilize more people. Let's get more anger into this. Let's increase the sites where civic mobilization is taking place. Let us also bring in all the groups that we can bring in. Let's talk to the generations. I like the idea of Genzote that has begun concretizing and people talking about Genzote instead of just one generation. Let us also continue still saying that this is tribeless, because I think it's important and the country needs it. That fresh air is needed every other corner. And let's just go viva. I mean, that's what I wanted to share, just a word of encouragement. And thanks for organizing the space. And thanks for being so kind every often to give people some 2 minutes to talk about these things.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for that. We go to Jess Mjama, Wakili, and then Wycliffe. Okay, I've had to remove Jeff because that was the third call. Who can speak on the mic? Carry your hands, please. Sorry, on the panel. Okay, Western, go.
Thanks, Marge and Hillary and Dr. Miguna, and all of you on this forum. Mine is to say that Nanenane is imperative, and subsequently, the protest must happen. Why? Because we have a failed state. We have a decayed state, and clearly, Ruto and his government are completely clueless vis-a-vis taking this country forward. You can see from the vetting, you ask yourself, what was the point of the so-called dismissal of the cabinet secretaries who are there before? Because the ones who are being vetted, they're just as clueless, just as mediocre, just as depraved morally. So what does it imply? It implies that the state is decayed. Opposition. These people are not the opposition. They masqueraded. Raila Odinga was masquerading as an opposition leader. He was not. He's a cynic. He also thinks just like William Ruto and those who came before him. So he hasn't betrayed us, because for people who are committed to a better Kenya, to reform, to change, to a total overhaul of this political, economic, and social architecture, have not had Raila Odinga as one of the people who can midwife that change. So he's not betrayed us. He's just done the cynical politics that he has engaged in since time immemorial. So what is the way forward? The way forward is that we have to wrestle the country back. We have to bring to an end this feudal system whereby a few people are entitled to privileges regardless of how they behave. They can murder, they can steal, they can break the law with impunity, but still they're rewarded and they masquerade as our leaders. That must stop, and they're not going to stop it because it's in their interest that they continue loading it over us. So we, the millions who are at the receiving end, have to wrestle the country back into our hands, and we reset the country values, social justice, constitutionalism, equity, justice, fair play, these things to be part and parcel of our public and moral life. Viva, thank you.
Thank you so much, Weston. And as we proceed, I see that Dr. giving you thumbs up there. I think you really resonated with his thoughts. As we proceed, let's not forget to build the network. So follow the host, the co-host, the speakers, look left and right and follow each other. And this is going to come handy. Wilson, I see you. Thanks. This is going to come handy when you have a message to amplify. The more followers you have, the better, because it gets out, especially now that people are still being abducted. There are people who are complaining and say, no, they did not notify anyone about our missing because we had less followers. So do follow each other. Wilson, over to you.
Hi everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon to each and every one of us. Thank you very much, Marge and Hillary, Dr. and everyone who is here with us. I have a very, very quick one that I want to say before I forget. First of all, when we say we are going to the street, I suggest we go to the street. I've seen at some point that we are in the street and some people are busy having space meetings. That's very bad, because I think when we are on the street, it don't help us unless you want to give us direction. Killers are coming from this side, let's go the other side. In case you are not doing so, you are not helping us. If we decide we are going to on such a date, for example, we have a Nanenane coming ahead of us, let's re-strategize, let's plan for it and wait for it eagerly, knowing that there's something ahead of us that we want to do. Secondly, I think that we should not even think about the cabinet vetting, because they are not vetting anything. Those are their people. I know these people in person. Those people, they are there because they have what those people want. They are their calibers. A thief will always have a friend who is also a thief. If you are a thief, your friends must be thieves. For example, this guy who was claiming to be the Genz leader, this called Baraza, he shot somebody and killed instantly. What did they do? They cover up. The Kagombe thing, this guy from Kiambu, he killed somebody, they cover up. So all these people, the only way that can really help us, the only way we can get our nation back, our country back, is just by going there, taking what is rightfully belongs to us. Me and you, we come up, we team up with our flags, water, and everything, because I know they'll surely do it to us. But we must get our country back. The issue of let's forget about the Joe and those nonsense. We cannot help. We are in our houses, but when we go to the street in good numbers, we have our strength in numbers. Thank you so much. That's what I really wanted to pass, and I really want to encourage us. Kindly, please, let's do it together. Let's go. Let's go. Not that some people, Gen Z, millennial, all those X and everybody, let's go, because there's a time all of us must go. If we feel angry, let's all of us feel angry in the streets. Thank you so much, and God bless you. God bless us. God bless Kenya.
Thank you so much, Wilson. Let's go by Wycliffe and then Wakili Ndegwa and then Lekisho. Lekisho, you kept dropping. I'm glad you came back. Wycliffe, you dropped also. Those are sometimes people tell us that they've been removed from the space. No, it's a technical issue of people dropping. So Wycliffe, are you able to speak?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, kindly proceed.
Good evening, everyone. So I want to contribute. I think I want to agree with the General Miguna on this issue, because all along these people have been on the same side, and so by them moving to support the government is not something new. They've always been part of that government anyway. This is actually also an eye-opener to us that the fight is on our side, and we need to keep focused, like the way Daktari keeps on saying. All this vetting you're seeing with the CSS, those are how does Miguna call it? Abracadabra. Because if you look at how they are vetting even the CSS, there's nothing concrete coming out of this conversation or this vetting. And so as a team, if we kept the same momentum when we began of going to the streets and picketing and protesting, we would have won this war a long time ago. We just dropped the ball along the way. But I think the most important thing is we need to refocus and come back and now have a very formidable force again. Okay? So I want to agree with this team, and I want to assure you that I'm also part of this. And Viva, let's continue pushing. There is
Thank you
light at
so
the end of the
much.
tunnel.
Thank you so much, Wycliffe. We go to Wakili Ndegwa and then Lekisho and then 6,000.
Thank you. Thank you very much, listeners and fellow comrades, fellow fighters, fellow members in council, comrades in the struggle. I am so happy this evening, having listened to the submissions by our able doctor. I have never seen a man who has remained consistent and predictable like Daktari. And most importantly, when it comes to describing those characters. And one of the characters that he has consistently demystified and explained to us is this man, Raila Odinga. I cannot agree with him more that he's a conman, he's a political conman, he's a betrayer, and that is a man who has never, ever focused on becoming what he has decided to be. Having said that, I think our focus then is to see how we are going to liberate this country. There is no doubt that Kenyans have resolved that we need a change. It is no doubt that Kenyans have agreed that we need change. And they have also agreed that change will be initiated and brought by ourselves. And that this change must come during our lifetime. So there is no doubt about that. And that is why Kenyans have agreed that on the Nanenane they are going to congregate all of us in Nairobi in efforts to liberate ourselves. I just want to encourage fellow comrades that Nanenane is a date with destiny, is a date when we have to make our own self-determination. We have been silent for a long time. We have allowed the systems and most importantly the so-called democracy to guide us. but it has always yielded the undesired results. Part of what the so-called democracy has yielded is the current rogue regime, is the current regime of hooligans, is the current regime of impunious people. So we may not be able to trust democracy 100%. And we must then be able to get to a situation where we are saying we want our own self-determination. We want to domesticate our democracy the way we understand it here in Kenya, the way we understand it from our own community where we come from. And then we modify it to fit within the Western concept of democracy. What is happening with us and what is contained in our constitution is a complete Western concept of democracy, which has never been domesticated and which we are now doing a test run. And the test run has yielded the current regime. So on Nanenane is a date of self-determination. It's a date when we are going to walk to freedom and walk ourselves for freedom. It's a date when we are going to redeem this country, redeem ourselves from the shackles of this Western concept of democracy, redeem ourselves from these puppets who have been installed and maintained by the Westerners for their own selfish gain. So on 8th of 8th is a date when we must speak with a loud voice from our rooftops. For anybody who bothers to hear, to listen, that Kenyans have decided to shape their own destiny. On that day, we'll speak and walk on the streets and march ourselves to freedom. And I'm encouraging people, if you're not able, if you have nothing to work for on that day, come and walk for the blood of Rex. If you have nothing to work for or nothing to hold on to convince you that you need to leave your comfort zone and come and walk, please come and walk for that young child who is not able to get a BCG vaccination upon birth. If you have nothing to hold on to or to work for, just come and march for that old woman and old man who is not able to get his social support system. Come and walk for our food, our grains, the sovereignty of the grain that has been mutilated by the Westerners. Come and walk yourself to freedom for the bodies that are, countless bodies that are now lying in city mortuary. So we must dramatize ourselves and we must walk on that particular day. It doesn't matter whether you'll be leading, whether you'll be in the middle, whether you'll be or you'll be behind. As long as you'll be walking from wherever you'll be, we walk ourselves to freedom. We must speak with a loud voice for anybody again to hear, because this democracy has failed us. We cannot try first, this thing first, the second time, and then we keep on doing the same thing repeatedly. That we need to be insane, we need to be out of our mind for us not to try something else. Like Daktari said, it has worked elsewhere in the countries, and the most recent is the Southern Sudan. Sorry, is the Sudan situation. We must walk. If Sudanese can walk when they had a brutal dictator, how about us? We must walk. We must walk against this so-called vetting that is going on in parliament. This is not vetting. This is just rubber stamping. And because they are not listening to us, we will walk against the person who is orchestrating this mischief, who is orchestrating this impunity, and that is none other than Mr. William Ruto. So on that date, come and work for that particular child who is not able to get capitation funds in their classes. On that day, as I sum up, come and work yourself and redeem this country from the shackles of slavery. Let us come and emancipate ourselves from this slavery. If we do not walk, William Ruto will walk over us. People are saying, oh, guys will die, they will be killed. Revolutions are always like that. And anyway, even if we don't walk, even if we don't die of a bullet, we are dying of uncontrollable diseases. If we don't die of bullet, we are still dying of hunger. We may not die of a bullet, but we'll die on a road crash because of the impunity and the recklessness of the Kenya's drivers because of the failed system. If we don't walk on that day, perhaps, and die of a bullet, you'll die of the criminals in the streets. You'll die of the failure to have a BCG. How many kids are dying currently because of lack of the BCG. Come and work for the voiceless. Let us redeem our country. Let us rebuild our country. Let us reclaim our country. Let us work for freedom. Viva, viva, viva. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wakili, and indeed, Viva. We move to 6,000.
Yeah, so Maj,
Unanipata 6,000.
nakusikia.
Yes, we can hear you, Maj.
Okay.
So I want to say this on Nanenane, we are just going to enjoy our taxes in the state house. So nobody should discourage you enjoying your taxes and the state house when you are the one who pays these taxes. So I told you, you should not be afraid. We are going there to have juice, walk on those pavements. There is a church there. We will pray that the William Ruto resigns earlier than 2 p.m. We are going to enjoy our lives there. Nobody is going to be killed. You know, this is our country. And if it's our country, as I always say, we are the employers of these people. And if you are the employers, we call the shots. And I told you we are demanding William Ruto to resign. We are not requesting. The moment we reach a point where we as the Kenyan citizens we've decided to demand, we are demanding. And Maj, there's one thing that makes me very mad on these spaces. We keep on repeating things every day, yet we forget to act on them. I'm more of an actions person. Wake up and go on those streets. I've always said, tunapeleka kisu kwa vita ya bunduki. We are going there 2 people against people who are armed. Our greatest weapon is numbers, and those numbers are the ones that will liberate this country. So let us just make sure that we work on the numbers game that are going to liberate us on Nanenane. Those people who feel like they don't have something to work for, to go out there for, kindly just remember it's your country you're fighting for, and there is nobody who's going to feed you in the coming years if we can't fight right now. We are fighting right now so that in future we will have a life that we will be self-dependent, not dependent on these people who will be coming to give us handouts every day. We are fighting so that our kids will have a better life. We are not going out there because of Mutuetu and Mutuetu and Mutuetu. I told you there is nobody who's called Baba in this country. His name is Raila Odinga. There's nobody, CG William Ruto is what? His name is William Ruto. He's human being. He has 2 balls like me, and he does not have more energy. What he just has is power that he has been given, that we as the people gave him that power. And it is time we want to take back that power and get him into a normal.
Did 6,000 drop?
Oh, I think we've lost him. We've lost 6,000.
Let me. There he's requesting. He dropped. He was on fire, and then something happened to him. Let me see if he can pick this again. And
I've added him back. So
okay,
6,000.
6,000.
6,000.
Kingsman, can you hear him? Because I cannot hear him. 6,000. Continue. You dropped and we've added you back. Yeah. I can hear him now. Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, and you control your background. 6,000. Okay?
Yeah, okay. My mic dropped. I want to tell you guys this. And the other thing I usually say, Kenyans, we are hypocrites. And we will keep being hypocrites because we are consuming information that we shouldn't be consuming. There's one thing I've always said on this X and on these spaces. Right now, if I came here and I keep listening to Maj, and Maj is misleading me, I wouldn't keep on listening to much because I have a self-independent mind, a self-independent brain that should be able to filter this information. William Ruto goes on TV and says, tumetenga, tumefanya hii. That you want to listen and believe this will happen, yet you refuse to reflect on all the 10 years he was the deputy president and said Kamarini Stadium will be due in 3 months. It was not made, and yet we keep on falling for these tricks each day and say, like, let us give him time. Which time are you giving him? Kibaki was elected a president in 2002. In 2003, free education was already in practice. And that is just acting. And the other thing I've always said here is that we should not be voting these people based on them coming to tell us they'll build roads. We want proper representation, not whatever they should be doing. You are coming here to tell us you are going to... How are we as Kenyans benefiting from William Ruto going to make a road in Turkana? Yet the rate of inflation is too high, affecting a common mwananchi earning 10 shillings, 100 shillings, 50 shillings. So this country, it has reached a point we should fight for it. And I want to tell you, let us fight for our country. Tuache kusikiza watu huku nje wanatuambia nini. Whoever has been paid, let him be paid. We don't care. Me, I'm not fighting because somebody was paid. I'm not fighting because of akina Hanifa, akina Boniface Mwangi. I'm fighting because I'm a Kenyan and I believe this country has a lot of potential. I fight for my country. I fight for my people. And I believe the moment we will get good governance, we will come to sit down as a people and say, we got our country to the Singapore status. Let us not be... I'm watching Olympics right now, and let me tell you, up to now, Kenya doesn't have even a single medal. Just a single medal. Volleyball tulipigwa juzi with Poland. Juzi tumekuja Japan, tumetandikwa. Rugby, we finished number 10. Come to look, there are some matches we should be competing in a country. We have oceans here whereby watu wana swim huko. We cannot even produce a swimmer who can go on to win a single silver or bronze medal, if not gold. This country has a lot of potential, but imewekwa. Look wakina nani wako huko Paris. TG the basketball chairman is in Paris. Anatumia pesa zetu sisi kama wa Kenya. Yet we don't have a basketball team competing in those competitions right now. You'll get members of parliament with their families there. Yet, nobody. We sisi wa Kenya ndo tunaumia. And this is what we are going to fight for. Guys, wake up and fight for your country. Mwache hypocrisy. Nanenane, tunatokea sisi wote. Na mimi nitakuwa pale. Hata mdosi job nimemwambia, I won't turn up to work until I fight for my country. So guys, as I wind up, fight for your country. Wake up in numbers. Thank you.
Thanks so much, 6,000. One question though, I mean, you can answer it if you want to, otherwise also not. What's happening on the ground there? Because today I shared a flyer of the UK team that is planning to also do a Nanenane, of course. But I don't know if they've increased the number of people who are trying to suppress the Nanenane, because there was a mass, first there was a mass, pushback, and people are like, oh, tumechoka, inciting. It seems more like they were trembling and trembling and trembling. Is this the impression you have, or... No, because it was really quite surprising. It confirmed to me that people are tensed there. So is there anything you could share to that in that direction, but only if you want to?
Yeah, so I'll say this: the ground is rooted for Nanenane, and the people are going out on Nanenane. Me, I live in Kikuyu land, and I sit down with these people every day. We talk, we communicate, and I've seen people who I never imagined in these streets. We go together on these streets because they are tired. They say what we elected these people for. So the ground is rooted for Nanenane. I talk with a lot of policemen on the ground, and they say Finya, because I've since 2016 I've had my time interacting with the policemen and all that, since my time when I was working for NCCG. So what I'll tell you, Marge, is that people should not lose hope. The ground is rooted. People are out for Nanenane. Plans are underway. We've done a lot of mobilization. The other thing, people shifted to the ground so that we can get these people on the ground to come and participate in the protests. But online kumekuwa na a lot of division and people are trying to move from that division that has been online. So we are moving on the ground. People are doing civic education on the ground. Also, you can take some focus. You can visit TikTok and see whatever has been happening there. People talking in vernacular languages to try and spread this information to different people within the country, so that we can have a bigger amount of people on the streets come 8th of August 2024. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Six. And of course, I will share also my TikTok and tag you and the rest of us who are here. Let's also do that, and so that we follow up everywhere. Kingsman, over to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to give. There's a guy I've added by the name Fresh. He was with us and Hillary on Tuesday. And his message really was touching, and he had a lot to speak about the movement. So Fresh, if you can go, and then Karan, you've been here for long.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was dropped
there was a
or
problem with the mic. So let Fresh go, and then you can come after. And then whoever wants to go after, please raise up your hand so that we are able to queue you in line. So Fresh, please, if you can hear us.
It's a privilege to be here. Mine is really, as you've said earlier, it's just we need to have fresh leadership in Kenya. We are in a situation whereby it is so horrible and we can't even talk about it. It's where the oppressor is trying to control the narrative of how we look like instead of how he looks like. I was very, very mad the other time when Oscar Sudi, an engineer, a fake engineer, tries to water down the credibility of the General Miguna, who everybody who knows has been quite oppressed by many regimes because of trying to stand for the truth. It is very, very expensive, and Miguna, kudos for standing tall on this journey. You started very early, and that's why I'm encouraging a lot of people that now this Generation Zote movement, because some of us, and of course with people like Miguna and others, have a long history of our struggle and where the country has come to this point. It is exciting to hear Gen Zs asking, how did we get there? It is true, they may not have, a lot of Gen Zs may not have an idea of why we got here. I myself, Gen X. But when we look around history, and because we have been lucky a bit to have gone to school, we actually can trace back where our problem started. But because now we are dealing with a monster, we got to collapse this monster. Number one, I want to talk to the police officers, intelligence officers, and DCI who are in this forum. You must remember that this government is gone. It will be a waste of time for you to be used as vessels to try and suppress your own brothers and sisters, to waste your time in spaces like this, to go and try to get feedback, to take feedback to your bosses, or even if you are the boss, to suppress your own people. I dare say with a lot of confidence that even General Bashir was there. He suppressed people, now he's rotting in jail. The other day we had a situation where our deputy president is rumored to have participated or have been sent to destabilize a former president or to be involved in something, allegedly. But we can now see how he came back and turned back and tried to say that he's sorry for whatever happened and it's very wrong that he abused the mother and so forth. So in a nutshell, I'm not trying to say that that was the best example of anything. I'm just trying to remind all the officers who are here and NSI's agents that you will be used now. But when tables turn, you will look for somewhere to run and you will not find. You will be a Hague material, and they are going to deliver you first to the courts before themselves they are delivered to the courts. So you better do your patriotic duty and protect the constitution that you sought to protect. Your job is to protect Kenyans and not to eliminate Kenyans, to be used in schemes to eliminate Kenyans, to be used in schemes to abduct Kenyans, to be used in schemes to oppress your fellow Kenyans. Just remember that, and whenever you're giving your advice or wherever you're involved, you can easily also sabotage prison officers who are here and who are not here. You have a duty to, because 99% of the people who are in prison are usually not serious criminals or anything serious, just because you're dealing with a very, very corrupt judiciary. And the other day, one of the senior lawyers said, it's just it's a charade to go to court where the rich get released and the poor people are taken in because of lack of 500 shillings, 1,000, 10,000. So we're dealing with an extremely bad situation, and we must be able to appear in Nanenane by nook or crook, by those who can print posters, those who can do anything. We must support this cause and collapse this regime, because this regime is determined to be able to use violence. And if we don't be able to, we will not be able to, because we've already rattled the snake and it already hit, the tail is all off. And William is in a corner. You can see the panic, all those gymnastics of trying to play and do all those funny things. It has been done before. We know them. We have seen the Johos on this world, the Railas of this world. And I can tell you for free, the name Conman Raila Odinga is now very officially resonating with a lot of Kenyans. Because these are people who are just betraying all the movements because they're so selfish. And we expected nothing. And I'm sure many people who never even voted was because there was no choice in the last election. But now we have a chance to be able to redo this thing again and be able to use the law on our side. But finally, I just want to congratulate all those people who have remained focused on this cause. There's a lot of issues and desperation from the system to try and use robots and use funny people to try and divide the movement. But because people are feeling the pain, this is not something that where anybody is being forced to go to the street. It is because of our own problems that we are going through. I was asking people the other day, we have a vehicle driver who is carrying us from Kawangware to Nairobi. He's drinking whiskey on one side, the whiskey Bible ya uongo. On the other side, he's eating miraa, he's on drugs, he's drugged, and the driver is going so recklessly on the road, and the passengers are inside quiet, and the guys, Makanga is telling us, wait, you mtafika poa. There is no way. We're in the middle of the road. It is us to remove this driver and take this vehicle on our own and reach our destination. Because we can't wait there and die. Because the question is, are we ready to die while in the vehicle because of this driver his own mistakes on the road, or are we able to replace this driver? So the question of waiting for William until 2027 is disaster. He will have gathered himself out and he will put the violence as his first weapon to create fear. Thirdly and lastly, we have had people like HSS in this government. We have had people like Oscar Sudi becoming now senior advisors of presidents. Someone who cannot, I've been in forums where he cannot write his own name. He cannot, it was a burial. He cannot write rest in peace. He writes those things that we used to do when we were learning how to write M. You know, it is so embarrassing. And here he is calling himself an engineer and he's making our kids think that for you to succeed in this world, you just need to be a crook. You become a makanga here, you become something, I don't know, he sold makaa, he did what, now he's worth 20 billions. Is that something you can teach your kids? Because in other words, what these people are trying to show us is a middle finger.
Mm-hmm. Could you kindly please land, because we also have other speakers who are waiting to speak. Back to you. Okay.
So it's a question of, are we wasting our kids' time in school? Reading geography and all these things and getting degrees. Yet when they come to the real world of Kenyan real world, is that you got to be a crook to be able to be anything. I rest my case. Let's support the movement. Viva comrades, viva. Thank you.
Viva. Thank you so much. Karani is going to go next, but before Karani, I'd like to acknowledge Jelani. Jelani, welcome to the space. Doreen from Uganda. Viva Likes, my sister Viva Likes from the Cameroon. welcome on board and feel free to take the mic and, give people a beat. We hope we don't get there where people are going the Paul Biya direction, but probably our younger generation need to feel how it is when, a dictator is outside the country and other people are ruling the country. So I'll send you the mic. Feel free to take the mic. Yes.
Dr. Makowasi is down here. I'm not sure if...
I sent her the mic. Let me send her again. Dr. Harry, please pick the mic.
And I see Senior Counsel Chacha Odera. Maybe he can also speak if he wants to.
Sure. And Dr. Harry, please then feel free to chime in after Karani. Let me send Dr. Harry Mokasi the mic again. Karani, take the mic and then we go to Dr. Miguna as the other speakers also come on board.
Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thank you so much. This is my first time to be in this space. Thank you so much, the host.